Hey and welcome to Neverwinter with Aragon. So in this video I'd like to go over all of the healing companions, well at least most of them, because it's pretty hard to obtain all of them, let's be fair. So on this character I currently have this many of the healing companions, and I've went and tested all of them and figured out which ones are the best, which ones you should be using to help you heal your allies. Now it's really going to depend on how well these companions actually heal and whether they're going to compare to, let's say, using a companion that would just buff up your party's damage or their survivability. And I'm just going to show you and demonstrate how much these companions actually heal for, and we'll go over which ones then I deem as to be the best and would actually be useful for running. Now before I jump into things, I want to make this one thing clear. I'm going to go over all of the companions and give you values for the heals that I have tested over a period of a minute. But these heal numbers will be different for your characters. Nearly all healing powers from companions are based on just a percentage of their target's hit points. So the more hit points you have, the more the companion will heal you for. And along with that, of course, incoming healing will also affect this. So what I did for my tests is I literally just went inside a group of mobs and I would just attack them, and over a minute I would see how much the companion could heal me for on the combat tracker. So initially we're going to start things off with running through them in alphabetical order. I have a total of 16 of the companions here, all of which I have went through and tested. So first up we have the Acolyte of Kelemvor. Now she has the ability to give you a Blessing of Kelemvor, where she'll basically shield you and you'll take 10% less damage. And this actually works and it's pretty beneficial, but it only lasts 3 seconds and she only does it every 15 seconds or so. So the benefit is fairly minimal. However, with her actual healing ability, she will create her Kelemvor sword and she'll grant you critical avoidance. It's about 3%. And then she'll also use that sword to now heal you. But overall her heals are pretty small and not very frequent. Over a period of a minute she healed me only there for about 150,000. So we move on to the Alchemist Experimenter. Now this guy has the ability to throw a potion at you that will heal you. This rejuvenating potion, and this potion can heal the ally for 5% of your HP over 6 seconds. But this effect can also be instantaneous, or it can heal also allies around you. But again, his heals are pretty small and he'll heal you for an average amount of 3,000 and only healed me for 106,000 over a minute. Then we have the Angel of Protection. Unfortunately, her heals are pretty abysmal. She'll heal you on average there nearly 10,000 per tick, and she'll only heal you up to about 133,000 in a minute. So we move on to the Apprentice Healer. Now this is going to be one of the better healers out of the ones we've just gone through, as he heals for a decent chunk, and he has the ability to put Healing Pass, which is like the Cleric's Healing Word, but nowhere near as powerful. And then he has his Sunburst. Now his Sunburst can heal you there for up to 53,000, and with his Healing Pass he'll only heal you for about 7,500, but that will tick out over time, over 10 seconds. So over about nearly a minute there, he healed me for nearly 400,000, which all things considered isn't that bad, but still not great. So now we move to the Battlefield Medic, and he has the ability to cast aid on all allies and yourself, and also do a combat heal. Now again, unfortunately, his heals are not great. Aid all will heal you for an average about nearly 12,000, and the combat heal will heal you there for about 5,000, but it will tick over quite a numerous amount of times, adding up to those heals. And over a minute there, he healed me for just over 345,000. Then we have the Cleric Disciple, and this is where things start looking better for healing companions. And this companion, over a minute, healed me for 710,000. And she again has a pretty powerful heal which can heal you up to an average of 56,000. And this is with her Sacred Flame ability, where she'll attack something and on the third hit she'll heal nearby friendly players. And along with that she also has like a Healing Word ability, but again it's pretty small and it heals you only for about 9,000 a tick. Then we go to the Dedicated Squire. Now he, in my opinion, is actually one of the best companions that you can run in like a dungeon with many other players, where you have to kill lots of mobs and things. He has the ability to do quite a decent amount of damage to all nearby enemies with his smite, where he will poison people. And with this smite he will also heal nearby allies, and he heals you for quite a decent amount. For me, on average, he was healing me for 21,500, and that totaled up to nearly be 900,000 after a minute. He also has a Cleansing Touch ability, where he'll basically cleanse you, removing all negative effects and also healing you for a little bit. Then we go to the Dread Warrior, and he has his Siphon Strike. He also has the ability to grant you more power and supposedly more damage. However, this damage is just translated to additionally more power, unfortunately. So overall, he doesn't really give too much of an effect, as power is very easily stacked up and capped on your character. But this Siphon Strike will heal you for a pretty decent amount, and on average it's pretty similar to the Dedicated Squire, where it will be 22,000 per heal. And over a minute he healed me there over 600,000. Then we have the Fawn, and the Fawn indirectly heals you. You're going to have to position yourself to actually gain the heal. Basically she creates like a little spring of life on the ground, and you'll have to stand in it to be healed. She also has her Nature's Vigor, which will regen health for over 6 seconds. But again, this is going to be pretty hard to actually gain the most benefit from her, but I try to do my best standing in all of her healing springs and taking enough damage, and we healed over there 266,000 over a minute. Then we go to the Helmite Paladin Ghost. Now this could be one of the best companions to heal your parties in a trial scenario. He has the ability to basically create a seal on a target, and whenever you hit the target you heal 3% of your maximum hit points. So depending on how often you can hit the target, the more you will heal. And this seal stays up for about 5 seconds, and he puts it on every 15 seconds or so. And when I tested it out as best I could in, let's say, an AoE environment, I got him to heal me over 700,000 in a minute, albeit it's really hard to test when you have lots of mobs, as he'll keep killing the mobs and he also kept taking aggro from me. That aside, we managed to get the test off, but I believe he can heal for a good bit more, especially when you're in a trial scenario where people take lots of damage. In the last boss in the new dungeon coming out, the Vault of Stars, this companion could be very, very helpful. Then we have Liland, and she has the ability to play her harp and basically heal allies. So she has her rejuvenating chord, and she also has her audio drain, both of which unfortunately are pretty terrible heals. She heals for me up to 5,000 there on both the abilities, and over a minute she only healed me for 150,000. Then we have the Lizard Folk Shaman. He's also a pretty terrible healer, and again he only healed me for 36,000 in a minute. He's mainly just an offense companion. He'll do damage, and as an offside he'll do a bit of a heal. That's his Marsh Blessing, as we see there. Then we go to Lulu, the Hollyphant, and she again is also a pretty terrible healer. She has a ability, her Hollyphant Heal, where she'll just heal the summoner. She also has the very nice passive bonus, the Holly Help, where she'll increase your hit points by 5%, which makes her pretty good to use as a summoned companion for a tank, where the more hit points you have, the better. The healing, on the other hand, is pretty abysmal and very infrequent. She healed me there, just over 100,000. Then we go to the minstrel, and he's even worse. He was such a pain for me to test out, as his heals don't seem to be affected by anything much, and he'll heal you for 5,000. Now again, he's not like a main healer, he just has his Inspire regeneration, where he'll sing your greatness and heal you. Yeah, he heals you for a tick of 5,000, and he healed me only there for about 60,000 after a minute. So we move to the Priestess of Soon, and she has her Sun's Grace, and her Sun's Grace will heal you for a pretty abysmal amount. Now, looking at her Sun's Grace, you would think it would actually heal you for a significant amount, as it says it will heal you for 3% to 18% of the owner's max health over 5 seconds. And if this was 18%, this would be really good. Unfortunately, it's really small and only healed me for 7,000 of my hit points over that period of time, totaling up to only 200,000 heal in a minute. So finally we go to the Silver Scaled Cleric Disciple, and this is pretty much exactly the same as the Cleric Disciple. However, with testing her, it was a good bit more frustrating than initially with the Cleric Disciple, so I didn't get as good as results, but in the end I'm pretty sure they are basically are the exact same. They have all of the exact same healing powers, as you can see there when I currently have the Silver Scaled Disciple checked, and if I go to the Cleric Disciple, you can see nothing changes. Basically, they have the exact same powers, they'll heal you for the exact same amount, and up there an average of 700,000 in a minute. So overall, what do I recommend to use as a summoned companion? Well, looking at the statistics of the actual tests I made, you ideally want to be running with, yes, the dedicated Squire. He's a very good companion. However, he's not that great in a boss fight. He has very good AoE damage, and he has a good area heal all around him. So it can be very beneficial in an AoE environment when everybody takes lots of damage from all the mobs around. It's very hard for tanks to hold aggro on everything there, so generally people do take damage, and the dedicated Squire will help out in those heals. In second place, I would rate the Hellmite Paladin Ghost, as he's really good in a boss fight when you have everybody taking lots of damage over time. If you've ever seen any of the footage from the newest dungeon with the Queen's Guard, the last boss fight, there's lots of damage over time that you take. And with having the ability that this ghost puts a seal on the target, and whenever you hit him, you receive a heal back. That can be a great help, especially mitigating the damage you take from those reflected attacks when he's not in the right area. So other than those two, I would then go as a second, I would take the Cleric Disciples, either this one or the Silver Scaled Cleric Disciple. And in final fourth place, I would put the Dread Warrior, as he has a decent heal and he'll also give your allies an extra buff in power, and if they need that, then that's even better. As for the other healers, I wouldn't really take them. You could take the Acolyte of Kalimvor just for its ability to give you that extra reduction to damage, but that's about it. Any of the other companions, you're going to be just better off running an augment companion or a companion which does something else than healing, as their heals are just really subpar and are not going to help much whatsoever. So hopefully this has been somewhat insightful and helpful to you guys who are looking for a companion to assist you in keeping your allies healed. With this new combat rework, can be quite a struggle, especially with mobs dealing a pretty insane amount of damage right now. Hopefully I presented this well. If I did, consider leaving the video a like, and if you're new around here, consider subscribing, and we'll see you guys around. Goodbye for now.